Okay, the first item is a delegation from Emily Kelsall. Go ahead. I assume that's you.
That is me. Honorable council members, I want you to mandate that all gas pumps in our municipality must have warning labels on them, cautioning us against the harms that burning fossil fuels cause. My name is Emily Kelsall, and I'm another teenager who is scared for my future. There's a rule in public speaking and storytelling that you don't tell the audience something they already know, but for the sake of emphasis, I'm going to restate some very well-known facts. 1, our planet is warming up and we're causing it. 2, this will cause sea levels to rise, ocean acidification, desertification, and generally very bad things. And 3, the worst outcomes are completely avoidable. Just over 97% of climate published researchers say that humans are causing climate change. In other words, the debate is over. And if you want to debate climate change, you should probably have some pretty good evidence that the Earth is flat. The IPCC, the International Panel for Climate Change, recent report was less than optimistic, and many scientists accuse the IPCC of being too gentle with their assessment. The facts are clear and the message is clearer. We need to change our ways if we're going to stop or slow climate change. That is why we need to take immediate action to slow this disastrous process from occurring. So I pose the question to you now, why would we play it small and stick to a minimalist approach to facing one of the most impactful crises in all of human history? Let's do something bold. The municipal government of West Vancouver has already taken measures to show leadership towards the future of our climate. These initiatives make me proud to say that I live here, such as the electric charging stations at the rec center and the commitment to sustainable development and recycling. What I'm proposing, what our Horizon is proposing, is an idea that would not only encourage electric vehicles, heightened awareness and action, but also put West Vancouver in a position where the impact on society and environment would never be forgotten. Maybe our high school textbooks will look back on this and point to a small community that made an impact big enough to ripple and make changes in the course of history. Research from the Federation of Canadian Municipalities shows that up to half of Canada's greenhouse gas emissions are under the direct or indirect control or influence of municipal governments. These figures mean that without municipal activities to reduce greenhouse gases, we are effectively unable to address climate change. Our actions here can change the fate of humanity. It sounds far-fetched, but it's true. And in the words of Nelson Mandela, your playing it small does not serve the world. Now this is where our Horizon comes in. I first heard about them on a radio being driven to school. The spokesperson mentioned a group of people called Our Horizon who were trying to put warning labels on gas pumps. When I first heard about that idea, the usually dreaded ride to school got a little bit more exciting. Something about that idea inspired me and made me want to know more. I found out that Our Horizon was started by one man called Rob Shirky that really wanted to make a difference in today's changing world and motivate governments to take aggressive action against climate change. He has come up with the idea, and since then, he has traveled across Canada, visiting schools and communities, and even the TED Talk stage, sharing his idea. And now, I want to share it with you. I want the Council of West Vancouver to pass a bylaw stating that each gas pump must be labeled with one of these stickers that you see before you. The proposed bylaw would be one that requires each gasoline realtor to place a 3x3-inch climate change and air quality warning labels on gas pump nozzles as a condition of obtaining, continuing to hold, or renewing a business license. Many gas pumps already come equipped with nozzle takers that can be used for this purpose. Nozzle takers are little plastic hat-type things which fit over the top of your standard gas pump head and have a flat surface that's traditionally used for advertising. A nozzle taker costs around $15, and stickers, if they're produced in bulk, would cost pennies. In the legal report that Our Horizon has prepared, in section 4.2, page 37, it describes how gas stations can easily cover the cost of all this for $100. Given the fact that the average gas station makes thousands of dollars a year, this would barely make a scratch in their income. Not only that, but a 2011 report from the National Roundtable on the Environment and Economy estimated that, based on existing coastal flood protection measures, climate change could lead to damages of more than $2,000 per British Columbian per year by the 2050s. With this in mind, it would be financially imprudent not to mandate this cost. The fundamental idea of putting warning labels on gas pump addresses two of the major issues that is making people separate themselves from this monumental issue and delaying much needed action on it. The two of them being diffusion of responsibility and delayed feedback. If you put your hand on a hot stove, you immediately pull it back. That would be immediate feedback. However, the most severe impacts of climate change are still down the road, so we don't gauge them as important. The important thing, however, is that they are down the road, and we need to change lanes. Secondly, it addresses the diffusion of responsibility. Much like how one cigarette in a pack won't cause cancer, one car on the road won't cause climate change. However, when you add all of these individual emissions up, you're faced with a big problem. The warning labels addresses both issues with ease and grace. By bringing warning labels onto the gas pumps, we can see the consequences literally at our fingertips. Not only that, but the use of graphic image and text brings much more meaning to a liter of gas. We can raise prices on gasoline and carbon-contributing sources all we want, but we will only ever be putting stress on the value of what lies in our wallet. Showing images and text makes us ask, what is the value of a life? Whether it be a species going extinct, or the millions that could and will die of drought and famine, humans will connect and feel stronger and more meaningful emotion for images and words than a number on a board will ever evoke. It lets us connect and tap into a greater web of life that many of us are even unaware of. As dramatic as it might sound, it's true, and if nothing else, a start. Now, I know what a lot of you must be thinking, and believe me, I've thought about it too. How does a label change the world? Well, I'd like to draw a pretty basic comparison. Not too long ago, a lot of people smoked on a daily basis, without much thought to whether it was a problem or not. In fact, it was often advertised that these cigarettes were good for one's health, or that they were doctor-approved. Oops, sorry. We now know that this isn't the case, but at the time, people believed it wholeheartedly. And in the mid-1900s, when scientists and doctors came out with the conclusion that cigarettes were a leading cause of lung cancer, tobacco companies tried to cover this evidence up, and it took years before a ban on cigarettes was passed. It started small, of course. The smoking vending machines disappeared. Then they were behind the counter. These days, you can't even smoke in public places. The current warning labels we have today with photos that are on cigarette packages were only introduced in 2001, and we were the first country to do so. But since then, over 60 countries have introduced the pictures and text, and researchers have concluded a decrease in 12 to 20% in smoking. In fact, a recent study suggests that warning labels have a bigger effect on deterring potential smokers than rising prices. Not only that, but tobacco companies pay millions of dollars for their lawyers to go into court and fight these labels. They wouldn't be doing that if they didn't work. While I was researching for this talk, I watched An Inconvenient Truth, and there's this part where Al Gore shows the warming graph, and how it's in a zigzag pattern. Up, down, And that's because when the northern half of the earth, where most of our trees are, is tilted toward the sun, the trees take in a big breath and suck in the carbon. And when the southern half of the earth is pointed toward the sun, the level of carbon grows as there are less trees to suck it up. Breathe in, breathe out. Carbon, oxygen, up, down. In this way, our planet is fundamentally like a lung, and we're giving it cancer. All of us as a human race, all of us as Canadians deserve to be warned and deserve to be cautioned, so at least at the end of the day, we can't say, I didn't know it any better. And yet, in another similarity, we are addicted to fossil fuels as a smoker might be addicted to cigarettes. The charging station would be the nicotine patch or the electronic cigarette. But what we need more, and this is the step that can and will define our future. We need to empower more people to act and spur change, and the only way to do that is through awareness. The truth is, behind the scientists and debates, conferences and documentaries, inaction on the issue of climate change comes down to inaction of individuals like you and me. In fact, it is a simple act of pumping gas which drives the need for tar sands and pipelines, but as the saying goes, no snowflake in an avalanche ever feels responsible. Now, I'm not asking you to yes or no this proposal right now, but it would be fantastic if we could get a report prepared for the summer on this idea. Soon we'll be getting the BC version of this legal report ready, and it would give us time to work with our Horizon and Rob to see how this can work for West Vancouver. I understand that I may be coming off as a tad quixotic when I say and believe that this idea can change the world. In response, I'd like to state a quote. If you think you're too small to make a difference, try sleeping in a room with a mosquito. We are emitting a gas that is fundamentally changing up what makes and what we define as planet Earth. These changes not only put the Arctic, coastal areas, sensitive habitats, but our well-being at risk. In November 2013, a delegate at United Nations COP19 climate conference in Warsaw, Poland, upon seeing our gas nozzle said, I've been to all 19 COP meetings, and I've never seen an idea so simple yet so powerful. West Vancouver is already a leader in so many ways, but if we employ this, we will not just become a leader, we will leave a legacy, an impact that will never be forgotten. Let these warning labels at least encourage people to make good use of the fantastic charging stations, and at best inspire to change the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions to the delegation? Councillor Booth.
I think it's a fabulous idea for all the reasons you said. Have you had any uptake, or do you know if there's been any uptake from any other municipalities on this?
Yes. Unfortunately, I can't remember the name of it, which is too bad.
That's
but
okay.
There's one, I think, near Ontario, a small little community that's preparing a report on this. So yes, there is. I can get that to you if you want the name.
Okay, Councillor Pans and then Councillor Soprovich.
Emily, you're just an inspiration.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. We do actually have a climate action plan in West Vancouver, and the transportation piece was a tricky one for us to get our heads around. 44% of the overall emissions of West Vancouver is from on-road transportation, so you hit the nail on the head on that one.
Yeah.
And so we struggled with what we would do. And this is an interesting opportunity that's in front of us. So I think one of the things that I would like to see happen, because I know staff is working on a community energy plan, that your information and your proposal be embedded in that, and see if we can't capture the opportunity there. And I'm not sure, maybe I can, through you, Mr. Mayor, to our Deputy CAO, Mr. Lee, when that might be in front of council.
Thank you.
When?
Yeah, through the mayor to Councillor Pans, the community energy plan will be coming in June to council, and Emily's work would be great. We'd like to embrace it and see how we can roll that forward. As you noted, you also have a very good grasp of our reporting system, so you acknowledge that a report could be constructed that would review the issues that might be inherent in your ideas. So
Yeah.
we can bring that all together as a bundle or separately. If we have to go down a little further in the research with the petroleum industry.
Yeah. I'd be happy to help.
Thank you.
Councillor Soprovich.
Well, I'm always reminded out of the minds of youth come some great things. You know, it's a very sensible idea. Certainly, unfortunately for me, the impact on pictures on cigarettes doesn't help because I've been grabbed by nicotine, which is extremely difficult to get out of your system.
Right.
In this case, this is worldwide. This is an initiative that you, certainly when you get to be my age, you're going to look back and say, gee, we championed a cause that many years ago.
Yeah.
And these little small steps are going to make a change in the future. So it's a wonderful idea. I hope that we can be the first in, or second in Canada to go ahead and do it.
That's fantastic. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Gambioli. Oh, sorry, Councillor Cameron, do you have?
We made a motion, Mr. Mayor, to ask.
I think staff are bringing that back.
A report on this in our next.
I don't know if we need a motion, do we, Mr. Lee?
No, not at all. We will be in touch and make sure we bring it forward.
And if you're bringing it forward, I'd like to see, you know, staff to bring forward a model bylaw for how it would look and the implications of that, rather than just bring it forward for discussion, bring it forward for decision.
Councillor Gambioli.
Right, well, that's great. I'll just add my 2 bits before I do the official thanking of you. I'll just point out that Rob Shirkey, who's the writer of the report, went to law school at UVic. So, you know, he obviously spent some quality time on the West Coast, even though he moved back to Toronto, came up with these great ideas. As Councillor Pant said, 44% of carbon emissions, GHG emissions in West Van, 44% rather than only 1/3 as in this report, in West Van are from cars, from vehicular traffic. So it's a real issue. I think it's a great idea. And my concern is, well, first of all, if staff take a look at this, the report talks about the research that's been done in Ontario on the Municipal Act and how this could be accomplished through the Municipal Act in Ontario. So we need to look at the community charter here.
There's a group of law students that is working on the BC version in Victoria that Rob Shirkey's in contact with. So hopefully we'll have that soon.
That's great. Okay, so we can coordinate with them. And then my other concern was, as you mentioned, in terms of the tobacco labeling, tobacco companies spent millions and millions of dollars fighting that labeling. And I know that gas companies are much larger than tobacco companies. So my concern would be how many millions of dollars they would be willing to throw at us to fight such a bylaw. So that would be my concern as a municipal politician responsible for the litigation budget. Anyway, so that's something we need to look at. Having said that, Rob has written back to me and has said that, 10 years ago, a very small community, I think it was in Quebec, was the first community to ban pesticides. And the pesticide companies, through all kinds of litigation at that small municipality, they were able to overcome it. And now, the majority of municipalities in Canada have pesticide bylaws,
Right.
as we do. So it does take leadership from one community to get it going. So perhaps we'll become famous.
Why
by
not
being
West
the first
Vancouver?
ones. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. What is that phrase, lead by example, Mr. Lee, that you wrote for us? Okay, I have to memorize that. That's the vision of the community. Anyway, so getting back to my real job of what I'm supposed to be doing is also thanking you. So I would please recommend for everyone in council that the delegation from Ms. Kelsall regarding climate change and warning labels on gas pumps be received for information with thanks.
Seconded by
Thank you.
Councillor Cameron. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Much
for
appreciated.
having me.